ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, is one of the most common mental disorders that develop in children.
What we know as ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or some people still call it ADD, Attention Deficit Disorder, has been recognized by some doctors since way back in 1902. Since 1980, which is when they first changed the name of the disorder to include the words attention deficit, we've realized that this is not so much a behavior problem, but far more a problem with the brain's management system, its executive functions. It's the attention problems that tend to make more trouble for people.
Hello, brains. I was diagnosed when I was 12, and there were definitely signs that I had ADHD before 12, but nobody really noticed. Yeah, there's this misconception around ADHD that it is an attention deficit when it's really about attention regulation. Sometimes we are paying attention to too many things, and sometimes we're paying too much attention to one thing. There's a lot of parents that might think that their child doesn't have ADHD because, like, well, yeah, he doesn't, he can't focus on homework, but, like, he can totally focus on video games. Well, those video games, he's maybe getting into hyperfocus. He's able to focus on this better because they're holding his attention better, or her attention better, than the homework is. Homework is boring.
The main symptoms of attention deficit disorder are hyperactivity, which means a motor activity that is not really aimed at specific tasks, and it is developmentally inappropriate. Level of impulsiveness that are also considered to be abnormal for the developmental stage of a child, and sometimes also combined with inattention, inability to concentrate on tasks long enough in order to complete the task that a child of a certain age should be able.
It takes me a lot of hard work to get my work turned in on time. I'm very smart, but my grades drop sometimes.
If I could actually sit down and start my homework, I would. But many days I just can't, and struggling with something so seemingly simple tends to make me feel very frustrated or even stupid.
I'd like the world to know that there are people like me out there who get good grades, rarely get in trouble, and yet can and do have ADHD and struggle with the symptoms that come along with it.
Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it isn't there.
My ADHD affects every aspect of my life, from sleep to school to work, all of my relationships, and I have to tailor my entire life around having it.
It doesn't always look the same. I was only diagnosed at 25 because I have the inattentive type.
I'm basically hyperactive. I was diagnosed at the age of 7.
I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until I was 38, so I always thought you need to be hyperactive to have it.
I've filmed this video too many times now, and I can't get it right, and it's really stressing me out now.
I try really hard, and it hurts when people act like I'm not trying as hard as I am.
But the worst part is when my symptoms aren't taken as symptoms, they're taken as behaviors, done intentionally to upset someone, or consider that I don't care, and that's never been the case.
Whenever you think that I intentionally tried to hurt you, I didn't. I probably just screwed up.
I'm at least as frustrated as you, and probably even more.
When I say I forgot, I'm not lazy. I'm not just trying to make an excuse. It's a real struggle, and I'm probably even more pissed off at myself than you are at me.
There is a giant flipping war going on inside this head. I really am trying.
When I use my accommodations, it's not me trying to take the easy way out. All I'm trying to do is level the playing field so that you and I have a lot more even chance of success.
When you see me arranging my pens and pencils according to color, it's because my brain is trying to compensate for the chaos within.
I squeeze some Play-Doh in my hand and let me concentrate on what I'm doing.
I moved to a special spot in the classroom for tests because I can't block out noises and distractions like you can.
While I'm staring off into space, it doesn't mean I'm stupid.
It doesn't mean that I'm not listening to you.
Normally it means that you've triggered a really interesting thought which my impulsive brain can't help but chase.
Having ADHD is like having a billion trampolines in your head, each representing a thought, and your brain just jumping off each and every one every second.
I don't think about ADHD as a disorder. I take it as more of a different way of thinking.
I know my brain works differently, but ADHD can give me an advantage with what I'm doing.
It may take me a while to come to a solution. It tends to be really different than everybody else's, and a lot of people appreciate that.
I've been told my whole life I need to be fighting my brain. I'm learning now that I need to love and work with my brain.
It's not an excuse, it's an explanation, and it's something that I'm going to continue working on for the rest of my life, and that's okay.
I'm smart, but ADHD makes focusing hard and hides my capabilities. If I'm given the chance, I can achieve more.
I know that kids that have ADHD can really benefit from some healthy fats, whether that's fish or fish oil or coconut oil or even some really good yummy avocados. I know that avocados keep me sane. My brain is all over the place, but I feel like an avocado really grounds me. I can't explain it except the fact that there's healthy fats in it and I just kind of need it. Another factor that you can kind of sort of control is management of stress. Yes, you can kind of help them control their stress levels. Now, by providing them with really good tools to help them get through some of those stressful things, also preparing things physically. Keeping a child with ADHD organized is something that you are going to have to walk alongside with them. You can't just tell them to do it, you're going to have to show it to them several million, billion, gazillion times. Hopefully not that many, but it kind of feels that way sometimes. As we have a place where the stapler goes. It goes in that place all the time. Doesn't mean it ends up there by the end of the day, but it goes there. And I'm constantly reminding my kids to put the stapler back in that one place so we can find it when we need it. Also, writing out a schedule is really good. You can totally control that. You control your kid's schedule. And if you want to have a lot of fun helping them out, what I like to do in my classroom downstairs in my house is I have a giant whiteboard. If you haven't seen my videos, I write out a checklist for them so they can just go through. It's a great way of communicating and also gives them independence and gives them something to do. As they check things off, they feel accomplished. It's reward. Really encourage some really healthy hobbies like drawing and coloring, exercising, all different types of exercising. That helps relieve stress. I also mentioned avoiding battles, but also avoiding things that you know are gonna trigger them. Yeah, I know. Sometimes you wanna trigger them in a safe environment so they can learn how to recoup from that trigger on their own, practice that. That is a thing. But if you just don't want to deal with that, try to avoid the triggers. Like, you know, when brother likes to run around the house and scream at the top of their lungs, you know that it triggers his sister into having a full meltdown. So maybe like try to help him avoid running around the house screaming at the top of his lungs. Or if you know having broccoli in their dinner is going to trigger them to have a meltdown, maybe like not feed them broccoli. Or maybe just take it and puree it and mix it with the pasta sauce and they'll never know there's broccoli in there. Maybe schedule in some silent time. That silence really helps them to refocus and also helps melt away that stress that has completely fatigued them through the day. It helps me too as mom. But then again, I also have ADHD, so silent time. And also guide them to separate themselves when it's just too much stress.
If a child has trouble sitting still or staying in his seat, he should be given opportunities to move throughout the day. Number 2, seat the child away from distractions as much as possible. Three, have a list of steps available for students who can read so they can refer to the list for tasks requiring multiple steps. Number 4, chunk classwork into small manageable steps. For more open-ended assignments, such as listening to a class lecture, try using a timer. For children who have trouble understanding the concept of time or numbers, a visual timer can be helpful because the child can see how much time is left. Graphic organizers can be another great way to help students with ADHD pay attention during lectures. Assist the student with staying organized. Stay close to the student. Use hands-on and interactive materials to teach concepts. Implement these rules with consistency. Number 6, praise students for following the rules and participating. Allow students to earn time to engage in preferred activities for following class rules and completing their assignments.